Hello, and good morning. So, wound up messing around with the ROM since last time, just basically forgot to restart the thing, and, well, wound up with a bunch of stuff I actually technically shouldn't have yet. Oh well, we'll just assume Steve found his old cache of stuff or something. Basically, the whole reason behind this, essentially when he was doing the last side grade update, the way that it's kind of set up more or less, at least from the minimal way I understand it, is just everything is set up in a list. That list is just basically limited by certain things here and there, like certain amounts of text in certain places, certain amount of just like aspects that can be applied to something, I think. Something like that, but long story short, because a bunch of stuff was moved around, namely, like, for example, all of the leather armor turned into male hauberks, because of the way that everything moved around, essentially just, like, moved to a different slot, so whatever was in that slot is what they wound up with. So they basically wound up with, like, male, like, full male, heavy scutums, and, well, just upgraded weapons in the case of Rogue here. Rogue? Steve? In the case of Mecha Steve here, he got the anti-mage claws. So, whatever, he just kind of got those now, I guess. Because they're an upgrade to his last thing anyway. Completely on accident, but whatever. It'll work. Other than that, though, I guess we're good to move on. Like, yeah, like right here, he got some stuff that should definitely not have. And thankfully, though, for the course of this run, like, helmets won't be a thing, heavy armor won't be a thing, heavy gloves I don't think either can use. Yeah, so the mail and just heavy armor in general, they can't use. Circlets, I mean, those are handy, but I think I already had those around. And, yeah, so, you know, weapon-wise, the silver points were given to a few people. Essentially just served as an accidental thing here, because they had, I think they had, like, did they have upgraded? No, they had just regular daggers. So, I guess these were in that slot. He got a boulder rod. I don't know, I think he just had, like, a regular stick before. So, it's a pretty significant upgrade. Can he even use that? Yes, he can. So, by sheer coincidence, everyone wound up being slightly above the levels that they needed to use their upgraded stuff. Like, you got those talons, they got short bows, they already had arbalests, so that hasn't really changed. He got a boulder rod instead of whatever, I think he just had a basic stick, like I said. And they got silver points instead of dirks, and yeah, there we go. That's also why Kashua is currently just a walking tank, actually, because as you can see here, she can't actually use that stuff. There we go. Do that. She can use that helmet, though. That's all well and good. Alright. Side grade wise, I can't actually make any of these things yet. Like right here, I technically don't have any boulder stuff at all, so can't make those. Pretty much these are your anti-mage claws. Over here you got your, caster daggers. Got your bastard swords over here. And I like the way that he kind of put in uniform stuff for their requirements, by the way. A crystallized flame, I believe that's, I think that's the one for spoil spell. I'm not wrong. I don't know, I could be wrong. Fair scale powder, I think that's spellcraft. Leather, you know, for adding to the handle. Over here for the heavy two-handers, he's just adding more metal to them. For the heavy axe, or the bearded axes, they're also, you know, just adding more metal for the extra spikes. Essentially, extra wooden metal for the long spears and stuff like that. It's nice. It's nice. Basically, it's a more elegant version of the original version, wherein you basically just got one-time upgrade, one very specific one-time upgrade for one type of weapon in one type of level gap, and then it just, like, never came up again. Like, one specific thing is I remember from base game is whenever I tried to use two-handers on somebody and upgraded them to a bastard sword, if I actually got a strength card by then, because you needed a strength card. I think it was either strength or chariot that you needed to slap into that thing. Well, either way, you got that thing, and you basically got a thing that was suddenly hitting twice as hard and basically inflicted breach. And it was useful for a while, and then, you know, a few levels go by and you're like, okay, I just spent a lot of resources for a thing I'm basically gonna throw in the trash. Because if you're doing like an Iron Man run kind of thing, which I think I was mentioning this earlier, but this is the only time when money actually came up in the game. Which is just if you're doing an Iron Man run with no retreats and no whatevers, and you're doing all your crafting stuff, and you're stuck in a position where you're basically paying over and over because of bad crafting rolls. So, for example, one that I was, you know, doing not that long ago, ended up paying, I think, like 18 grand for one of those bastard sword things. Didn't come cheap. Didn't come cheap at all. But anyway. Stuff was ridiculous. Also, these frontliners should be amazing right now. Mosquito, yeah, you're an Arbalaster. Have you go over here. This one's gonna be a pretty simple get within range of the leader and make him not exist anymore kind of situation. So, expecting to see that shortly here. Probably make it a two-parter as a result. So yeah, new hit sounds. So this is the proper version with version 89. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention, there's version 89A out now. It fixed two things. Essentially, one of them was the PSP crash. So if you transfer the mod over to a PSP, essentially the names, the name changes that were assigned to some of the new stuff caused the game to crash. So, for example, what was it? I think Baldur Armor was one of the ones that originally did it. But he basically had to go through each category and each item and rename and redo and all kinds of stuff until it finally worked. So, you know, props to him for all the extra effort to make stuff work on an ancient console. The guy is ridiculously good at this whole modding thing. But yeah, so yeah, finally that started working. And what else? Ooh, holy crap. Other than that... oh yeah, there was a fix to the spinning javelin glitch. So I made a joke thing about it as soon as he told me that it existed, just before the patch came out. Just because I had to. Oh, holy crap. That guy, he hits friggin' hard, doesn't he? Thank you, weapons I technically shouldn't have yet. Oof, crap. Well, I guess it doesn't matter too much now, because he's dead. That's the thing. You get your upgraded stuff, it's nice for a second, and then you still get corrected. But no, so yeah, there was this weird glitch with the Javelin in particular. Between the Javelin and Wajeli, I understand. Actually, the Wajeli run, the Wajeli thing came up. Kind of curious about it during the Iron Man run so far, or the basic Iron Man run, since this is basically still going under the same rule set, just with more ridiculousness involved. But no, what ended up happening is, yeah, the Wajeli wasn't spinning, the Javelin was. So, stuff got hilarious, in which you basically had a spinning spear flying at somebody. And the Wajeli just kind of flew up in the air, spun once, and then just clunked on somebody. It was good. It was a good glitch. There need to be more of those. That's the downside of Rakes being so friggin' good at this. It's like, whenever there's a glitch, it's like, oh man, why aren't there more glitches? Why isn't more stuff broken? Oh well. So good. It's all good and working as intended, and yeah. This time it seems like there's actually very few issues to report. That's good. So it was just the PSP crash and the spinning javelin. Oh, and I think he fixed the Sylve thing. Yeah, it looked like they were showing up properly. Though arguably that probably was because I was messing with the mod again. No, it wasn't because I had the wrong ROM in there. No. Okay, let's do the Vice fight. The fight, if you will. I think I went. He's showing up properly in the. I love that he shows up properly in the cutscenes. Impossible. Alright. This should, once again, be no real challenge, hopefully. Yeah, whatever, Vice. No one cares. Except for Cashua, because you're trying to get into her pants. Because that's his character. Yeah, so this whole binding dagger thing is gonna become very, very prevalent, I think. Because it's one of those things like where you'd run into a guy with a knife and you'd kind of just laugh at the guy because like you brought a knife and that guy's got a spear, that guy's got a friggin' hammer. What's your frickin' knife gonna do? And now it's changed to the point of, okay, that knife is gonna probably hamstring somebody and hold him in place. There's a reason to actually worry about it now. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that plays out long term. So I think should probably have no problem getting up to Vice here. Hang on, who's this? Vin? Okay. Again, I want to reiterate, again, the main reason that this is going like a knife through butter right now is multiple glitches that just happened from messing with stuff that shouldn't have been messed with and launching the mod in a way that it shouldn't have been launched. So, early on, it was because of some numbers that were in the wrong place. To give them a very slight early advantage. That dropped off within a couple fights, but either way, it got corrected down the road too. But then with the equipment, I mean, they're gonna have a level advantage anyway, but with the way things go, levels don't really matter, it's the equipment that matters more than anything, and they've basically gotten one tier higher than they should right now. So they're doing like 20-30% more damage than they normally would, give or take. Again, a far cry from the original, like, they do 3 times as much now, but hey, you know, it's still an advantage. But their defense is the same that it would have been, so they're really just hitting harder. And that will drop off right after we get to Rhyme, or at least right before Rhyme. Oh man, Vice, you thought you had a shot? You not know he is? There we go. Plus, not to mention the... Oh, there we go. There's the bind effect. It's all terrifying and crap. I mean, these guys should be friggin' terrifying to everybody. Yeah, friggin' Steve and Luca over here. Both well-known genocidal psychopaths. Goodbye, Vice. Get out of here. Yeah, it really could have, moron. Vice isn't the brightest. And they're up to 15. Good stuff. Okay, so now we get Crisero. What the hell was it for Crisero? I don't remember what Crisero was all about. Whatever, let's do a quick sweep through skills here. I think we're gonna do Reflect after this. Oh! Hang on, where is it? Dang it! don't have enough points now. Rakes had a good point, in which he actually said, I can have an axe on Steve. It's very possible, I just have to give him a throwing axe. And given his ridiculous speed already, that's what I'm going to end up doing. So I'm going to give him claws and an axe, so that he's essentially still punching and axing like he did in the last game. But he's all crazy fast like now, so it should hopefully not be too much of a problem. Ooh, Bind Shackle stop, yes please. That's the nice, one of those nice things about doing a limited class run, you get some of these skills super early. And yeah, this is a decent experiment as far as how big of a difference a larger level gap is going to make. Eventually, it's all going to come down to where the level cap breaks. Because essentially, at some point, I believe it's the chapter plus 10 or something like that, or just 10 times the chapter. Something. So it should be 20 at this point, I think. I don't know, I've read that number somewhere, but I don't think it's correct. Because as far as I've seen, level 30 seems to be the one to do it. But we'll see. Right, you're the lowest, what can you learn? Probably want... actually no, Infernal. Just slap that on everyone, that's the greatest. Also, it should be noted that they lost a skill, so... they lost counter, I believe. It's just fine, we'll pretend everything is all fair right now. It actually does Umbra now? I didn't notice that. We'll do that, and Anatomy, why not? And here we go. Alright, full court fight. Let's do this thing. I was advised to change a lot of them to either fists or daggers. Fists and shields and that sort of thing, and I did, so I forget where I was going with that. Okay, here's the deal. Frontliners are only gonna hold the front. Frontliners plus Steve. Right, they've got no healing element, but my my crossbows are going around the side to just snipe them. They're gonna try and stay out of range. These bows are gonna go up top, I think. Probably see about taking out some of their support stuff from there. Because their casters are going to be a problem, since they can't really make use of their dodge. Berserkers probably shouldn't be much of a problem. Soldiers will be. Just because the whole guaranteed hit thing. Knights are going to be annoying for recovery purposes. Steve insists on being up front. He needs to feel the feeling of punching someone. Or something. Alright, Shock Lance. Just want to point out, caster class, 6 level bonus. They're doing 24s, so... So far, no need to worry about being stupidly overpowered with just a few levels. Unless you're meant to be, like in this case, where essentially these guys are just super weak to casters. It's like the balance was intended this way from the beginning or something, and Square just didn't do it right. Yeah, I don't know, it's one of those things that I've mentioned a few times, but if, if there was ever a way to go and just get a bunch of questions answered that you never knew the answer to, I always kind of wondered what the hell happened in, later stages of development for this. Like, did they run out of money? Did they run out of time? Did they just all get drunk one day and forget to do the rest of the balancing, or what? I like to think that last one, because that whole necessity for business people to go and drink with their colleagues despite the fact that they're dead tired kind of thing. I don't know. It's weird, because as much as I've always loved the idea of office buildings, it's weirdly specific, I know. But, I don't know, I just always loved the idea of just the boring uniform office building. Yeah, I don't know. That whole, like, Japanese business culture thing freaks me out to no end. Not because of the whole you got a business all the time thing, but I mean the fact that somebody has to go and, like, actively spend all their extra free time pretending they're not spending all their extra free time. Going off and, like, drinking with their boss and stuff like that. I don't know. Kinda creepy, man. Creeps me out. Such is life, such is life. So, there was this thing I was watching a while ago, by a guy with the username of Shadowversity. There's a couple people who may be seeing this that I sent the link to said guy to, because he actually did an episode a while ago on, okay, he was doing this whole series on realistic weapon portrayals for different fantasy races, and one of them was actually fairies. And, yeah, the long and short of it was just, like, if they were as fast as they're usually portrayed, like, if they had darts, or if they had little, like, little razor blades, they would probably be the most horrific thing in the universe. Because essentially, if they're as fast as they are, right, they're usually portrayed as just essentially perceiving time like a fly would, you know, presumably, then essentially they could just run up and shank somebody in the throat, armor or not, without any real worry about what's going on. Actually, before they pick up that card, let me double check that that cheat is still active. Because I don't know if I turned the, no card bonuses cheat off. Or on, or whatever. Yeah, no terror stat bonus, okay. It appears your damage has tapered off significantly. Alright, you go here. This sort of thing. Then next round they should be able to all go in and do Bind Shackle Stop on everyone. Which should be hilarious. Oh yeah, so, like I was getting at, so, darts, little needles, little razor blade kind of things, like, that was the long and short of, what would probably be the most effective for him. It's funny, he's done ones on pretty much everything, including, hell, even including a whole, Skyrim thing of if somebody actually had to fight a giant, what would be the most realistic thing, and it was just like, hammer to the kneecap. That was the summary of that entire episode of, like, they're big, they will fall over, just bust up their kneecap. It's funny how many of them resulted in, like, yeah, halberd would probably be the best for everyone. Just because the thing's so good at what it does. It's like dwarves and stuff, for example, they're like, well, they need the reach. So halberd gets, I think it was, I Dang it, I forgot who the others were, but there were a couple others. Right. Well, Night Guy's gotten himself isolated. Okay. Back on the actual fight here, because this map seems to get me screwed over every single time. What I'm trying to do here is essentially I want to get the Knights gone, so that they stop going and, oops. So that they stop going and healing Mr. Pharrell over here. Then, I want to keep him closed away from everyone else. Slowly chip away at him, while the crossbows and others go and deal with all of their nonsense. First off, what's the range on this? Ooh. Hello. You've still got 2 range for some reason. This is fair. Goodbye to you. I feel like Infernal Kiss needs a debuff of some description. I mean, one of those 3, I think I've seen all of them miss exactly once. So, I mean, one of those 3 is gonna hit. So basically, you have a completely disabling move for 30 TP. A little bit on the strong side, maybe a little bit. Let's see, forward here. Then please eliminate. Thank you. Good job. No need to do that whole missing thing. Missing's for dorks. Don't do that. Mosquito. Finish this one off. Yeah, they're pretty friggin' effective at this point. I'm probably gonna stick to regular heavy crossbows. I'm not gonna go into railguns with the 2 side ones here. I may make some for the purpose of having them, but I really don't expect to be using them because of how often I have them move around right now. I mean, by the same token, it could be argued that because I'm moving them around a lot, I'd probably be more likely to have a shot. It also might be good for keeping them out of range, because they've got the longest range in the game. We'll see, we'll see. Alright. April, I'm gonna need you shanking these ones, but first of all, heal yourself. Really the main advantage we've got over them, aside from damage, but the most practical advantage that we wouldn't have had otherwise is health right now. I will say that their health goes up a lot more forgivingly than it does in KOL. No, what? Right, corner. I messed up the dang corner. I think Steve's the only one that's gonna have a reasonable chance of beating this guy down for a while. Steve and Luca. But Luca's too busy over here initiating murder mode, so maybe not so much. Mech. Alright, it actually has gone a little bit longer than I expected at this moment, though. So let me go ahead and cut it right here, and well, let me wait for a pause first of all. There we go. And alright, I'll see you next time.